I'd like to call the meeting of Pocahontas County Board of Education to order. It's a regular meeting it's supposed to be on January the 7th, and we continued it to the 14th because of weather. So January the 14th, 2025. All members are present. And now we can stand and say the pledge to the flag.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag.
Say this.
to the republic
Which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the Board of Education meeting held on December the 17th, 2024. Do I have a motion? Mrs. Hollingsworth made the motion. Do I have a I'm more than you seconded. Okay, are there any questions on the minutes from the December 17th meeting? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Motion carried. Number 2 is the approval of the agenda. We have a motion. Morgan made the motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Any?
Well, I want to let you know that Joseph, our high school representative, emailed me this afternoon and said that Jim and Riley both are busy with other activities after school this evening. And that we really haven't had much since. We haven't been.
Very true. Very true.
And I also, what I just gave to you was, or is a field trip that we would like to request to have added to the agenda as miscellaneous. It did not get approved at the previous meeting. It is an out of county trip. It's a day trip by personal vehicle. So they are leaving tomorrow. If you all approve it tonight. And so you have the agenda for the meeting. Is what I just handed you to Mr. Jackson. So, and it is Mrs. Shepherd can tell you more details about the event.
Okay, we'll put that as item number 12. I see the miscellaneous. Actually, we can't do that. Huh? We can change dates or times, but we can't add. We can let them go and bring it up at the next meeting and approve it. We can't add this to the agenda tonight.
Well, do we need to make a motion, add it to the next week's agenda?
Sure. Can you, Mr. Paulson can move it to the next thing, but I don't think any of us have any problem with them going. Anything else?
No.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Delegations.
Yes.
Introduce yourself. I know you, but
My name's Josh Hardy. Appreciate time, y'all giving me here tonight. I'm coming, on behalf of my family, particularly, my high school, junior, who's my daughter, who's a high school junior. We've been really struggling over the last 5 months to, get some answers with regard to what we perceive to be, issues with her transcript. When our daughter received her transcript from the completion of her sophomore year, right away we had noticed that there was an immediate problem, which was there was a grade that was just wrong. We talked to the teacher. They confirmed that she had received a certain grade, but the transcript just had the wrong grade on it. It didn't seem like a big deal. We just needed to get it changed. Due to the turnover the principal's office at the high school this summer, we didn't really have anybody to bring its attention to, so we had to wait until Ms. Taylor took her position, and we had a meeting with her, I think, within the first week or two of school. She was incredibly responsive and wonderful to address our concerns. She made us aware at that time that basically there were some other issues with transcripts in general, and that she was not empowered to make these changes on her own, and that she needed to take these issues to the central office, and maybe even the state board. We were fine with that. I mean, what are we gonna say? Okay, let's do that. And so we proceeded. We did have a meetings, about a month later, here at the central office. At that meeting too, again, I would say I found it to be very, helpful. Ms. Bostic and Ms. Shiplet were extremely receptive and responsive to us. But what we understood from that meeting was, yeah, these issues, are really, and again, we don't, just that some other powers that be, namely maybe the state board, needed to weigh in on these changes that we were seeking to be made. Fast forward now 5 months. We had 3 issues. As I said, the first one was the obvious one. There's a wrong grade. That's been corrected, finally, so thank you for that. The second issue had to do with the weighting of certain classes, and Ms. Shefflet and Ms. Bostic were able to provide us with a good explanation, and we're resolved on that issue. But we have this one remaining issue that I think is a really, really big problem, not just for us, but potentially for every high school student. And if my kid was a senior this year, and I don't say this lightly or to sound like some jerk, but like, we would be nearing the time of like, somebody's got to do something legally speaking. Because I know GPAs and transcripts and all of that fun stuff, it's particular to each person, but at the end of the day, for a kid who wants to go on to college or do something else with their life that requires them to put forth their high school records, these things matter, not only in where they get accepted, what jobs or what schools they can go to, but selfishly speaking, also what kind of money we have to pay. Scholarships come down to, did you get a 3.9 or a 4.0 or a 4.2? I mean, it's such a competitive world out there, and I don't need to bore you with that stuff. And so the issue that we're having right now is that it seems to me, and I've read it a million times, and I know I've forwarded it to all of you, but the 2023-2024 handbook that we were all given and signed at the beginning of the year, which is obviously last year, on page 12, clearly to me contemplates that every student will receive 1 course grade. But what we did last year, or what's reflected on at least our daughter's transcript, and I'm going to guess everybody's transcript, is actually the first semester grade and the second semester grade. That is not compliant with what we have in our handbook. And it makes a really big difference. And the only responses that we've gotten to this issue in the 5 months that we've been trying to deal with it is, one, well, other counties do a first semester and a second semester. And that might be true, and that might be fine, but that's not what it says in our handbook. That's not what we do. And the second response we've gotten is, well, it doesn't affect GPA. And I can tell you right now, it does. It absolutely does. My daughter's grade overall GPA would be higher if we went forward, if we carried through with the policy that we had put in place for last year. And so I'm here today to say, I don't know what else to do. We don't know what else to do. We seem like if we need to talk to somebody at the State Department, can we have their name? If we need to come and meet with you guys individually or privately, we'll do that. If we need to have another meeting, we'll do that. But we're just kind of turning here and turning here. And the longer this problem progresses, in many senses, the bigger it becomes and the harder it is to put back in the box. And like I say, if my child was a senior this year, I would be sweating bullets at this point because, applications are due and financial aid and all of that fun stuff. And so I just don't understand why we can't get a straight answer on this, and why we can't get a resolution on this. And if you have any doubt, on my daughter's transcript from her freshman year, which by the way, same policy was in place, one course grade. It has one course grade at the end of at her transcript for her freshman year with the overall GPA. But for some reason, her sophomore year, last year, we went into this first semester and the second semester grade, keeping them separate, but not an overall final course grade that the policy requires. And so what's happening here is from a personal level, my daughter's academic standing is being harmed. It's being lessened. She is not getting the credit that she deserves. And when it does come time for us to apply to colleges and apply for financial aid and scholarships and all of that fun stuff, she is going to get shortchanged if this isn't correct. And we are going to get shortchanged. But I'm also mindful too that I am a member of the high school's LSIC, which I'll be the first to admit has not been very active this year, and we need to do a better job at that. But I feel some responsibility because, I care about all those kids, like all of us in this room do.
Yeah.
And we all want to see them do the best that they can do and be rewarded for the work that they accomplish. And so I'm not trying to speak for other parents or, bring this to some head, but we've got to understand that this is a pressing issue, and it doesn't seem like anybody knows what the answer is or how to resolve it. And I would just like to be able to talk to someone to understand what is going on, what it's going to take to enforce that policy. And I will certainly continue to write you and call you and request meetings and go see the State Department and do whatever else I can. I want to be proactive. I want to do this together. I want to fix the problem. We're all only human. No one's perfect, but we can't just keep turning the wheels here and saying, look, there's no problem. There's nothing to see here. There's a huge, huge issue here. And I really would like this board to look into this and take some action. And like I said, if we need to have a special meeting, I'm happy to organize it or do whatever I can do. And I know Joanne says the same, and plenty of other parents who are equally concerned. So I really appreciate your time tonight. I appreciate, hearing me out. And again, I come to you really with my hat in hand. I'm just asking for your help. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. We cannot respond back to the delegations because the statement was, but Mrs. Bolt, can you address any of his concerns?
I did think we were addressing the delegation.
You don't have to. No, you can't either. Thank you, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Superintendent's report, special recognition.
So I wanted to give you a report of what we've been doing since our first days. Because here at the office, of course, we are continuing to work. We did have a meeting yesterday with our strides. I know you're going to ask me what stride stands for, so I'm writing notes. It is something new that the State Department has started this past year, which gives us a liaison between the counties and the State Department. So our quadrant, which is a combination of reason 1 and 4, actually are in quadrant 1. I think we're 1 too. So anyhow, Deep Brook's line, retired superintendent of Wyoming County, and STRIVE stands for Strengthen Behavior Responses, Targeted Assistance, Regular Attendance, Increased Achievement, Valid Data Practices, and our support teams. Mr. Gibson yesterday at the meeting said, what does STRIVE stand for? And we're like, we'll get back to you.
Let's answer all questions.
So we did meet the directors Gibson, Ms. Shiplet, Ms. Tripo, and Harry Lorraine also met with her via Teams, and we talked about our goals and what we feel that we need help with from the State Department. I had spoken with Ms. Klein earlier, and I talked to priorities of being counselors, as we know, we had the opening at Green Bank currently. We have arranged to have a dean of students now at the high school, but because we could not fill a counselor position there. And we brainstormed some different ideas on how to approach the state and legislators about helping us with that. And we also, priority two is creating instructional leaders with our principals. And I'm going to let Christy Tridico talk to you about a program or a group that we have in our county now.
So a couple board meetings ago, I wasn't here and their contract was on the agenda and it's called the Education System Solutions Group. And I heard that group speak last year at our case meeting. And then they spoke again this year at our case meeting. They can offer support for schools with master scheduling, special education, like just a whole wealth of information that this group brings to the table. So I could talk to Lynn and Julie about maybe contracting with them to provide some assistance to our principals and our leadership teams and just trying to, get in here and see what we need and see where we need to start at to help build this group. So we contracted with them. They have been in the county twice now. And they've been to every school, I think, except elementary, and they were going to do their best. It's not there today. Ms. Taylor at the high school has sent them a list of things that she would like some assistance with, and they are working individually with the principals to see what their needs are at their individual schools. Because all of our schools are different. So what Ms. Taylor needs might not be what Hillsborough Elementary needs. I have not spoken to the two gentlemen that were here this week, but typically what they do is they come in, they work with the principals, and then they call me and we have a Teams call and they go over everything that they're doing with those principals in those buildings. So I'm super excited. The first time they were in here, they had a lot of good things to say about our leadership and the people that they met with at the schools and the classrooms that they visited. They do go into the classrooms and stuff while they're here. So I'm anxious to talk with them in the next couple of days to see how their visits went yesterday and today. But they'll be here and they're just give me some dates. They say the dates they're coming. I send it out and the principals get back to me. We have some dates already scheduled for February, but yesterday on that call, Deirdre Klein said that we have hit the goal line with that group. So I'm super excited to see what they can bring to Pocahontas County and help us.
I'm excited about the personalized learning that's happening with our next.
Yes.
Because it's not a cookie cutter. It's not like, okay, this is for everybody. It is really personalized. I spoke with Missy Gordon. They were with her this morning.
Yes, they were this morning.
And she said, they talked for quite some time with their data, with the, numbers and everything. And then they told her to be thinking about those priorities and they listed what they felt she needed to start on first. And she's like, that's it. That's exactly what I was thinking too. So she was very pleased with the meeting.
The other thing they do is they don't just come in and say, here's what you can do. They will actually go with the principals. They will walk the walk with them. So it's not like they just come in and hand them something and say, do this. They don't do that. Like they will, like Jeremy will come in, he will sit with them. They will go into the classrooms. Like they will actually help do these things instead of just giving them a piece of paper and saying you should do this. So it's exciting. I'm excited to see what we can do.
So we've kind of taken on that on our own, even though we asked the state for some support as well. They are continuing their new principal mentors and things like that. But this is, I think, really going to be the rock star support. And another thing that we talked about was safety. We discussed with Ms. Klein yesterday about, many hats that our safety person wears. And Then also the funding that comes with safety and providing like an officer at a school. And how we need some backing there, we need some help. And so that's something else that we discussed. Other concerns for personnel, of course, it's always getting, certified staff and positions. We also talked about attendance for both staff as well as students is a concern. Flexibility of schedules and resources. One of the things I even mentioned, I said, I really think I'd like to see them extend the contracts for teachers so that we can get these mandated trainings in, that are required throughout the school year. Of course, as Sherry said, needs to come with that funding source as well. And we also talked about the behavioral specialist that we would like to have. And she said our concerns were very much what she's hearing from other counties too, needing the support. So again, it's just kind of a liaison about what your needs at this time. Also, I want to talk about attendance numbers. We did just finish, the second grading period. 54 staff members had perfect attendance, and I should have brought compared to the last time. And also 82 students had perfect attendance. And once again, Green Bank leads the pack, which is the best attendance rate.
That's the best thing we had in life.
Yeah. So Green Bank will receive another yard sign to put in their yard stating that they, have the best attendance for the second grading period, and postcards will be sent to staff.
What was the number again? 52 staff and
54 staff and 82 students.
total staff we have.
200. I was going to 200, but I know that's not an exact number.
I mean, that's better than, that's 7%. We only had another,
Some kids. So,
that's good.
So I have asked Ms. Jordan, I know she touched base on what they're doing at Green Bank for attendance, but I've asked her to come to the next meeting and really bring in some documentation to show you and really explain in detail what they're doing at Green Bank, because they're changing the attendance rate and the chronic attendance rate there.
Okay.
Miss Busby, I think that part of the problem with staff attendance, you have to put on the legislature. And we need to start pressuring them because there's no incentive for teachers not to take their personal days and all of that. We had that. Didn't cost them a penny.
Right.
And now there's no incentive, so people are, I know personally, they're just taking the day off because they have it.
Yeah, that's been the way for the last 7 years.
2015.
2015.
Before that, it wasn't like that. They changed it.
July 1.
It changed. Which is forever.
Right, and I always say too, you have younger teachers too, they have younger children, so it takes off with them when they're sick, it's like, with the mom, so that's another. That's normal, yeah.
But,
But like you say, there's no incentive.
there's no incentive not to take a day. I have a dentist appointment at 8 o'clock, but I'm gonna take the whole day.
Also snow days. Of course, you brought Steve, that's it to you, and you email about our snow day. Maybe another copy of it. So we are in snow day packets, we only have one left. But I have to say that the instructional directors and Stephanie Burns, our coordinator, worked on a schedule for each of the schools during snow days when they were doing packets. Every one of our school staffs met at 9 o'clock. I joined in with the high school meeting last Monday. I know Ms. Trippo and Ms. Shipley have also been trying to join into those meetings on our snow days with them. They have an agenda, they meet, it's a meeting time. It was real fun. Most of them, I think, started with some kind of engaging activity. They discussed, learning activities, project-based learning things. Colford climate survey, staff meetings. Arlington Middleton took it and did breakout rooms for staff to discuss. And so they had like one group wanted to talk about schedules for next year, another group wanted to talk about pacing guides, special ed, interventions. So they did breakout rooms even beyond the large staff meeting. So I just wanted to let you know that they are meeting. And then they have hours that the students of Ms. Hammond's, was great to send out those for each school with a link. And that students or parents can contact the staff members during that time if they wanted to ask them a question directly. They could also email anytime of the day. And that's what I kind of reported back, that that's what most families did, was to send an email to the teacher if they had a question. And then the teacher, could respond whenever it was convenient for them.
Now, on these snow days, is there a required amount of hours that the teachers have to do during these snow days, or is this all volunteer, or what is?
This is because it is a day that we're using as construction.
They work that.
Right, it is a work day. So that's why we went ahead and scheduled. Mr. Pope, do you want to go ahead and talk about?
Yeah, I mean, last year I had talked to Lynn about maybe using those snow days just for staff meetings and various things. Because we have all this stuff that we want to talk about and the principals want to talk about with their staffs, but there's no time. I mean, there's just no time to do it. And I actually joined Green Bank's meeting. And it was great. I mean, all the staff was on there. They were talking about report cards, all these things, like they had some questions that they needed answers for. And then I sent out the emails, like it's really nice. And I know that we follow the chats, the chat group and teams, so we can see their chats and they're talking about, they can have coffee time, whatever, like it was really nice.
Approximately how many hours do they spend?
The staff all meet from 9 to 10, and then they set up those office hours, but they all met way after that. Like the chats go on, like they would talk about different things. And I know the high school did breakout rooms as well. Like they did departmental meetings on those days. I mean, they're spending some time. I mean, it's not just 5 minutes,
Basically, what I'm getting at is they have time to do any kind of required training or anything.
Right.
Working on that.
yes.
Well, and that's, of course, the vector solutions.
The vector solutions, they don't want training.
Do they have to go to the school?
No,
Those are still
all
working.
teams.
Right, that's really good, because I don't think, if the kids and buses can't roll, then they shouldn't have to be functioning in school.
Yeah, but like I say, what I'm getting at, if they've got required training, they need to be getting that training, especially when they're saying they don't have enough time. There's your time, you had all last week.
And the other thing that we did, which I wish Joanna was in here, we have those grade level meetings set up throughout the year to bring first grade together from all the schools. They talk about their data, they do different stuff with our coaches. And we talked as a group, and we decided that since we've been out so much, we would try to rework that. And we would try to utilize a snow day, the next snow day. And so Stephanie and Joanna worked out a schedule. So we've canceled those grade level meetings and bringing everybody here because we want them in their classrooms because we've been out so much. So they're also going to attend that this next snow day. So we have that schedule set. Joanna already sent it out. They'll get the link and they can attend those. The vector trainings they are working on online that we assigned at the beginning of the year, so they have time to do those.
Do you have an estimate of how many hours those vector trainings are?
Oh my gosh. I mean,
20 hours, 20 hours, 40 hours?
It's not 40, but I could go back and find, I can go back and let you know.
What I'm getting at is, we had all last week off. And they're working 3 to 4 hours on the meetings or whatever.
Right.
Their training should be done.
Yeah.
Well, they had 4.5 days off.
But that's what I'm getting at.
I agree.
So I wanted to share with you, see on Facebook and on our website too, and Arlington Middle, they had a choice board for their snow day. You could just glance at that and send it And I know Ms. Scotchy, you know, encouraged them to send her photographs of the students doing the work. And it was a group of them that got together and they did a cooking experience and something else. And it was on their Facebook page. So I thought that was a unique way to do assignments across all the different subject areas. So we've been very excited about the snow day success so far. And even Nebraska, Scotchy said this morning, she said they had the best results of students turning in work from this.
You know, we're being productive and get something done. I mean, it is what it is. It's just,
So the best, right?
they've got to do stuff. We got to be productive. But if not, we'll get so far behind, we never will catch it.
Also, we mentioned social media followers and give a lot of this to Christine Hammond. She's been working great to really boost our social media and our webpage and make it very user friendly. She, in 2023, so not the school year, but the year 2023, we had 74 followers on Facebook. In 2024, we up to 200. So we are getting more followers.
And here's that.
And what I'll say about that is, I know not everybody loves Facebook, not everybody's on Facebook. But it opens a huge line of communication and we have to communicate, we have to build the community. So the more followers, the more eyes on our information, the more communication we get out there. So, considering that we just started focusing on part of last year, Christine has been a big part of this too. She has lots of great ideas. That's pretty good considering starting in July, we started focusing, trying to how do we get more eyes on our information, how do we get better communication out. So I'm really proud of that number.
And as you know, it's being said, if we don't tell our stories, nobody knows what. So that's what we're
Is your Facebook thing set up for Marlington Elementary? Is that what it is?
We have 5 in our
Yeah.
portfolio.
You got-
6. Yeah, so Marlington Elementary has their own, Marlington Middle, Hillsborough, but we can manage them all centrally.
Okay.
So I can send things out everywhere,
Okay.
or a school can just post to their own, and we can still manage it.
About 5 years ago, we purchased license with Drillshare with Apogee as a company, and Drillshare, I believe, is their online service that we use. And it's wonderful because in one site, you can send it to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, email, text messages, phone calls, websites. I mean, all of this at one location. And so we've been very pleased with it.
They also have an app for your phone. It's
Yes.
got everything right on here. It's Board of Education. You got that? Basically, everything that's on there is on here. It's pretty cool.
Today we had our first calendar meeting because we are working on the 25-26 school calendar. So we had invited staff, the Senate presidents from every school, a parent, first parent from every school or family member, as well as LSIC chairs. And we had, again, another productive meeting. We had some return from last year, so they kind of knew how the laws and codes worked. So tonight we created our survey that will go out to parents and families, communities, and students. And then we're creating a separate survey this year for just staff about which days they feel are important or when they would like to have certain days involved. And then after we get those survey results, we'll be putting those out for 2 weeks, and then we'll get those back and start creating some calendars based on those survey results. And then, of course, for those for voting, we will have our 2 calendar meetings later this year because our calendar has to be approved before May 2nd. We will be piggybacking with some board meetings for calendar meetings as well. And then I'm going to finish with some activities. So, and Sherry, I do want to comment on this. We did get now today at the National Forest Farms. I think I put this on here. And if you'll look there, in the first section, as the Congress closed, the House did not act to pass the Senate passed bill 2581, secure rural schools reauthorization. So,
It'll come. It'll come. It's gonna come because, if you look at the senators that's really gonna push this thing back through Congress, and I talked to Sherry about this a little bit earlier, they're from Idaho, and their school systems will completely shut down without. We are the largest one in West Virginia. We're small. Whenever you get to DC and you start talking to these people, we are a dot compared to what they use. I mean, their communities will shut down. So, it's a matter of getting it run back through. And this is not a political thing. This is something for these communities and schools that have to go. Sherry was gonna say,
Our house is the issue. Senator wasn't, it went through the house, or senator didn't go through the house. So I talked to Helen. See, she said, they're ready to start pushing again, so once they're back in, we'll be working.
What's the value of that to us, man?
$320,000, $350,000. That also will affect, I don't think, our county commission would get the payment and local taxes either, and that's about $1 million to the.
918,000, what they got last year? I think we got 300 or something, they got 918.
last year, I mean, Sherry, penalty for community and hit the hallways in Washington DC.
Along with our action force.
Yeah, it was amazing that pollution is just, and here from the states, especially in the western part of the United States, it's there.
They would be devastated.
Right.
We would be too. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
If we lose $300,000, that's a lot of money.
And it's not in the budget for this year.
No. But, it's a matter of, you're in you're gonna be a whole new administration, there's a whole new Senate, there's a whole new Congress, and there's a whole people in the executive. So, it's gonna take time to run things back through again. Thank you. Let's hope. Information report and academic updates. Mr. Dwayne Gibson. You're up.
You'll be quick. We like quick.
So just here's a recap of what's been left for a little bit
Anyway, maybe decided things that get more much love rating than I was doing. I learned how to slow things down. It's just like this. Thanks a lot to get things done. So we did meet with the electrical engineer, and also the architect on September 30th. There's been a lot of exciting discussions about that since, it's like, okay, we need to find out where this seats from, where this seats from. So we're through the process. I think we'll be able to replace all the switch gear, which is back in my cafeteria, and also switch gear that's up in the welding shop and that refrigerator. As part of the structure, to get my piece put together. Which is a big boost. Every time we said she think bunker it out, it's like, you bring it right here.
I looked into that bunker, she said, it looks the same.
All them switches.
Yeah, so anyway, everything all that's gonna get replaced at the same time. Planning on starting with the day after graduation. I keep calling Pinnacle, because I mean, we did a preliminary, asbestos, check on it.
It came back negative, but we need an official one. I had contact with these folks, I'd say probably 4 or 5 times in the last 2 months, going, hey, we need somebody here to go on with what we're saying. And, they have yet to set up a date. So, another thing about the new, just call them again. Normal elementary school roof rulers, they're in, process complete. When the old board office was torn down, there's some damage to the roof. That's been repaired, reclaimed, actually became a deal for the same kind of roofing. They did the repair, so they took over the water. So we're still covered, the roof fixed, should be in good shape for that. Water risk report, said very similar to fire marshal report. Most of the stuff that was on that report, by the time we got the report, we already started taking care of it. There's little odds and ends like things like they said, well, put cages there, all the exit lights in the gym. Just to keep those from getting damaged. That kind of stuff, cost a few bucks to do it, recommendation of the department. So that kind of stuff, we work when we have time. Still, feel like the number is the doors. And the kind of thing to get taken care of over the summer. The transportation, as usual, the several critical books. Reward gets added constantly, some of them at the last minute, which makes it a little bit more interesting in my life. And a lot of them have been, will have to be rescheduled out due to delays and all the school plays we've had in last week. Things like that. We're putting a fuel tank in the middle school for work storage for gasoline. It's for bus there gas.
Where you putting that?
Right up to the post bus yard, the bus shop. So we'll do the shelters, you need, we'll put the shelter for. Yeah, and then also there's one, so making sure he's building the shelter.
One of the above storage tanks with the catch basin.
Well, it's just going for it. And do it inside and outside. Yeah, in between. So you don't have to have lights. But you do have to have emergency stops, which is kind of the buckets and that. Anyway, so we've got that shelter going. The main street, spare time kind of thing, really permitting. Jonathan Taylor's class is building the shelter for the fuel tanks if possible. So that's going on. We're still planning to put a bus plug-in station, for the plug the bus in. It's great. I mean, that's something they're working on a little bit. What's the hospital? Just next year. So new building anybody's hands. Should be plugging. So stuff will see like a thing. They run into buses. We should get it in. Anyway, that's a little bit farther from me. Safe schools, we pulled together a grant on human security. We hopefully would generate EHS for anybody. Well, that happens. Haven't heard anything back from that one yet. So the cops are in, still ongoing. We do have the funding supposedly for new access controls and new cameras. And getting buildings rekeyed, and then we're trying to get into the ASAP. So it's going to get something straightened out and make sure about that done. She keeps grants rolling. I can honestly say that. So anyway, so that's the one. We're also trying to getting some temporary fencing around the site. And once we get plans set and funding for permanent fencing and whatever that's next one comes, maybe something parking lot someday, try to take steps in. So just something I wanted to do is to shout out. We don't see people's horns enough sometimes. We need to thank all of our service personnel for keeping things running in the background. People don't realize what it takes to keep two systems moving. And we've got a lot of us in here. Maintenance, bus drivers, cooks, mechanics, custodians, list goes on in down to the substitute drivers, whoever, whatever. And what made me think about this was all our head custodians. Last Monday, state of emergency, every one of them shows up, starts plowing driveways, shoveling snow, chipping through the ice. I just make sure school will be ready for the next day or the next day or whatever happens. And there we came in and fixed the freezer on the state of emergency days. And Justin Taylor was out plowing parking lots and mechanic. So Jamie White, Christopher Cricket, all I got to do is make a phone call and they'll come in later on. They recognize that the folks out there that are dedicated just do things on their own and make things happen. And the ones that are making things happen, make all of our lives a lot easier. If you got questions, go for it. I don't want to play anything, you got to have questions going.
I think it's a great idea. You haven't, about a month ago, we had a request for a lady wanting to get her husband into bus driving school. I mean,
That's working with the classes. A lot of it's individuals, they'll work with one person or two or whatever. We had a few people coming at once, getting something to get training in one. There's probably 4 or 5 process right now, but it's a slow day.
yeah.
I remember whenever I started this, we started applying mid-January. I had my picture taken for my driver's license, the last day of school day. It takes, 5 or 6 months. And I think if we had some set there, I would we can see the bird. A lot of it is, well, I can't be there that night, so they're trying to work around people's schedules.
Well, let's get process. That's good. We've got someone going through the process.
We've got a few trying to get running on it. We're sending out probably 12, 13, 15 packets, and probably get some interest in other people that say, yeah, I might be interested in that. I'll push them along the way. We've got 4 or 5.
Wayne, how's the heating situation? Because it's gonna get.
It's one. I was pretty late today. I feel unprepared for what we're doing right now. We had, everything was going along swimmingly, then we had an issue here about a month ago at Green Bank. We had 2 hot water heat exchangers. I guess we had aerial lines, they weren't circulating. We had an outdoor air damper, that was like any cold air, we didn't even know what was going on, blowing directly on, so it froze, busted 2 of them. I'm trying to find replacements for those right now. In fact, I was on the phone with the guy this evening trying to track stuff down. That's where I'm talking about things turn and slow sometimes. Then we had the new air conditioner units, they back the temperature down on those where they would start to have heat pumps running. That was helping us. One of those went down today. So we said the temperatures we're gonna have, we can't do a whole lot with it, so they're planning to be here Friday trying to address that. So I went to Great Bank this morning and spent 2/3 of the day there, trying to rig up one of the computers, trying to resolder, repair the condenser part, heat exchange part of the one unit. And we got it running, we got heat back in the building, we're in that ring. But there's always this ring over here.
Oh,
This ring's after this.
We're as prepared as we can be for what's coming this week.
Again, we've been running all this week, the last couple of weeks of occupied mode rather than doing the light setbacks.
Right.
Just to keep temperature. Trying to do, make things roll, and keep everything active. So far, Darren and I were talking today, maybe probably since we've been running the seat, we haven't had any real major issues as far as anything freezing us or anything like that. Other than that one thing, very much. That was a fluke. That was just something in that system that nobody knew was going on until we had problems, find out it was going on.
I meant to tell you all this morning, I don't think I sent you all the email, but we did not have 3K. It's very cold. So we've got.
Yeah, we got plan B and plan C, I guess, the little girls are getting. That's why I get outside. Yeah.
We've all been there and fought through it.
Oh, yeah.
Cold weather causes a lot of damage.
Big ranks, let's go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm taking it first. Like, okay, what can I do?
Sounds like you're prepared, so just keep doing what you're
Doing all we
doing.
can.
Just ask the power company here when the lights go in.
Never pretty well.
It's either raining, snowing, or cold.
So you can override the system.
We can't put it in occupied mode.
That's the solution.
Yeah, we've been doing that since probably what, 3 days, something like that. I don't know. So you can have your.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can ride like, you know, we need the gym, just there's a morning, we'll kind of do it and then ride each road and it.
The night before, we did it on the elementary.
Do they notify you when they're going to use the gyms on Saturdays and stuff like that? How are you getting the information?
Well, finally, I got a copy of the basketball schedule, so no. I went in and pretty locally just be on for those particular
But
days.
that shouldn't be your responsibility.
Well,
Somebody at school needs to let you, the coaches, principals, somebody, athletic director, somebody needs to let you know.
there was one that I happened to meet up with my daughter in Charleston. She was moving house. She wanted me house. We were moving, I get a text like, hey, can you turn the heat on? I'm like, not from here, I think. And I had cell phones, but I didn't have a computer and have all that with me.
You might send a letter out to the principals and the athletic director, somebody needs to let him know. These coaches need to let them know and they need to let you know so you can take care of that.
Yeah, like I said, I know about it. Take care of it.
That's what's up.
Like I said, I looked at the basketball schedule for the high school.
Because I've heard complaints about, well, we got, there's always high school, there's cold.
Well,
Okay, did anybody tell Dwayne?
well, you told me,
What are you complaining for?
you told me about Fox 6 holding here.
And what he expected on.
It needs to be turned on like. And I get that. Criminal, but.
Yeah, they need to plan ahead.
It's cold, can you fix it?
Yeah, they need to plan ahead.
But,
Yes, still.
yeah. Well, that room was 92 or 94 degrees. Yeah, premiers, we've had a lot of, with the technology, the new technology on equipment. There's a lot of us slowly getting worked at. And we have to focus around that. There's been still, I think, in the last year and a half or two, and I'm joining now, so. So we are doing everything we can.
Well, yeah, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, we'll do with all of you. We got an alert here, what, a couple weeks ago, that we're increased water usage, so we started chasing water problems down there. We're trying to turn off water, the hill house, the water leak, apparently someplace in the ground between the school and the hill house. So now we're gonna have to do some digging. This isn't kind of weather to dig.
Where it used to be cafeteria years ago.
Yeah.
It was great.
Oh, it's.
Yeah, they call it the hill house, and it's a cafeteria.
Every day.
Yeah.
So now it's
Senior citizens.
Well, I talked to somebody a while ago that got some of the equipment, they're tickled to death.
Here's the thing,
There's still more stuff that needs out of it. Anything that can be storage becomes flood.
like, there's a note from a couple meetings ago. Is there any progress on the fence at some kind of face safety barrier there at MES at the
It's
for the
on
new
his-
building?
Yeah, I talked about that. It's temporary fence. And then once plans are permanent, and we find out what that's gonna be down there, what kind of money we can find for it, that's something we'll put.
Buildings, properties, roads. We have, we lease anything.
The senior citizens at Hillsborough in a building, right?
Well,
That's what's all the hill house.
Yeah,
Well,
that's our building. I mean, the senior citizens.
We just have room.
Yeah, you just have the rooms there.
We do not lease anything, it is ours.
It's all ours.
Yeah.
I gotta ask that question.
So, well, said, we take care of the shrinkers.
Including the phones.
Well, the center's ours, so.
Yes.
Yes.
just came to the
Thank you, Dwayne. I think you're doing a great job, buddy. Keep at it. The colder it gets, the more problems we'll have. Okay, financials, number 6. Approval of the following consent financial requirements. Payment of vendor listing for $54,567.03. Payment of local government purchasing card for $144,519.94. December 16th, 2024 employee payroll, $291,131.98. And extra duty pay for the month of December 2024, $18,690.71. Grant awards and budget adjustments. Do I have a motion? Fulton made a motion and Mr. Gibson seconded. Any questions on this one?
yeah, I got a question on that. Is there, okay, so school day childcare, is there a line item, where are we at with financial school day childcare? We're done with them. Do they get any more payments? Is this anything?
That's it.
That's it.
Let the record show that Mr. McCombs has stepped out of the room. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Morgan? We need you for the next one. Miscellaneous. Morgan McCombs to discuss and possible resolutions concerning a flag zone at Green Bank and Wi-Fi connectivity high school. Do I have a motion? Should be for the students. Do I have a motion? You make a motion, Mr. Gibson seconded.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is something I've been thinking about looking into. And we really need Wi-Fi for students. It's probably the only school in the United States that doesn't have Wi-Fi.
One of them,
I
I don't think Pickens does.
They're shutting it down.
Dave, I think the first thing we need to do is asked the observatory, and Christie suggested this last meeting, to voluntarily shut down from 8 to 3 during the school hours. We could have Wi-Fi. They do most of the observations at night, it's my understanding anyway. It's not gonna be, I'm not sure how big inconvenience it'll be, but I think that's the first step.
I was talking to a person the other day, and since, and now correct me if I'm wrong, the government doesn't own it, right?
Right.
Okay, whenever this quiet zone was set up, it was the government, wasn't it? And since it's privately owned,
Science Foundation is now in Western University.
okay, what authority do they have?
It is a law.
It's a state law. They don't have policing authority. There's a state law that says that you cannot violate the quiet zone, which is a 1950 some law that no one could. Look.
Yeah. In 1957 or 58, when it was built, a quiet zone at that time didn't mean anything because there was no cell phones, there was none of the Wi-Fi, there was.
It was meant to stop FM radio stations
From, now, I've seen working where, Pendleton County had voted not to recognize it. Highland County, Virginia, their county commission or whatever they call them over there. They've been several, I think Randolph County, I'm not sure about Randolph County, but I know several of them have voted not to recognize
There we go.
it.
How much money did they give us? Did we get any funding from them? Did they give us any money?
They've been good. They can also put filters, from what I understand, on their equipment.
That's what Mr. O'Brien said. They just talk about,
The thing that struck me when I started looking at this, goes back to, anybody who think about school law, and there's a great workforce education. It ended segregation based, fell over into special ed, that's why they call it special ed, fell over to the sports. It basically touched everything. It says separate is not equal, 14th Amendment, our keys. And I feel like our kids, civil rights are being violated when you say we got this group of children. And most of those children have been here for generations. They were here before this, the parents, grandparents. You're not going to have Wi-Fi the same as every other student in the United States. To me, that's discrimination. But I think we need to officially ask the National Science Foundation to come to the table and talk to us and say, can we work this out?
I think we see what they can do. Tim Walker, Chuck Nyday is the guy up there that does that checking, right? For the observatory? Yeah. He would be one to talk to. He's the one that checks to see if there's any interference in different places. I think he goes all over the state, Virginia, and everywhere, don't he, Tim?
Yeah. I think as far as anyone,
Well, and it doesn't affect the Hillsborough area as far as Wi-Fi, but it does as far as cell phones. Because our
Oh, no, your camera could be turned on.
couldn't be high enough for anybody but like within 100 feet of it.
It affects a lot of the cell phone towers.
They don't actually affect every child. Christie made the answer. We're spending several more dollars per child at Greenbank to try and bring them up, which is taking money from, we should be spending the same amount of money on each child for this kind. We should be spending more to give Greenbank children a subpar education and take away from.
I agree, we're investing more.
We're investing
Still
more money.
falling short. Yes.
But it's not, really, it's not, it's 2 meters, it's 9. Some students is being affected by this.
Morgan, I believe you're right. I believe we need to sit down with them and have a meeting and talk to them and say, what do you all suggest as a solution?
Who's the range for that meeting?
You want to go to that meeting?
Yes. I've walked in the fire company for years. There you go. They've been good to us, but they hinder everything. They hinder everything that you go to do.
And they're also used to, it's always there. Because you know what it says, what you did. There was never no question there.
Yeah, you didn't question anything because, like I say, I never thought about it. Like I said, when the government did it, you was like, okay. But now since they're independently owned,
Well, it hurts the whole county. Now, there's a lot of people that work to observe. A lot of faith in the people and want to keep them there, but still, we can't let it stop 900 and some kids from getting everything that they need.
it's affecting the children. That's the thing. Adults will learn, we can deal with it. We'd have for years. But when you start affecting the education of the children, something needs to change.
You should invite, I'll tell you, who would be a real good advocate for this proposal is, we have a young woman up in Elderly Vale, and she's a science teacher. She is well versed on this and would be an excellent advocate for him to take her with us. Invite her to that discussion.
I don't know who the general manager is anymore. It used to be Mike Bolstein, but he retired.
Jim Jackson, the last time we were able to talk to someone who's holding service. Then he went on medical leave. I know that's still Jim Jackson. And they're in the fields, took over talking to us. And we went down and had a whole decision.
Make sure.
Many radio observatories across the country, and we're the only ones with flags, and was, all the rest of them have filters. They're not, apparently they're not extremely expensive.
Go ahead, Sam, you're supposed to say something.
Well, it's either that or move to school, having to move to school somewhere.
Or they move it.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but I mean, it's an issue.
We got a map in the fire department, we circles, so there's more help.
Yeah. I mean, it's not our issue, it's their issue.
Where would you move it to? Because even when you move, it's going to be. All right, any, Mrs. Paul, if you want to set up a meeting, get a hold of them, Ian Frosty and Morgan, the whole board can go.
Yeah.
And, we probably want Mike O'Brien at that meeting. We have to have a motion here.
Was the quad thing, I'm just gonna interject something with this, right, was like, was the quad thing company in Sugar Grove and the Navy?
That is part of it.
I don't think it's there anymore. Mount Storm has just become electrical power plant now.
Brandywine still got the facility, but it's not run. It's independent. There's still something over there, I'm not sure what it is.
There's Brandywine. My son-in-law works at Mount Storm. He's been there about a month now, and I asked him if that naval base was there, and he said, not anymore.
It's not my station. They're still gonna be there.
What?
They're still gonna be there.
Oh, I'm sure. But Brandywine,
I don't know what's underground.
a bunker.
Old switch gear. Well, they probably do have an old switch gear in there. I don't know what they do in it.
We might have low down some switches here for long.
Okay, number 8, approval for Cindy Solak and Susie Cover to take 20 students by bus from Pocahontas County High School to WVU Tech, Beckley, West Virginia, to tour the forensic lab on January 29th, 2025. Do I have a motion? Mrs. Hollingsworth made the motion. Do I have a second? Mr. McCombs, second. Any questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Number 8 is approval to change travel reimbursement rate from 0.67 cents to 70 cents per mile retroactive to January 1st, 2025. No motion. Mr. McCombs made the motion. Do I have a second? Mr. McNabb seconded. Any questions on that? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. And that's what it is. That's what the federal government pays the mileage.
Yes, so we have to find.
Number 10 is a Approval of a memorandum of understanding MOU between the Pocahontas County Board of Education and the West Virginia Division of Corrections and Rehabilitation Facility and Pocahontas County Youth Reporting Center. Do I have a motion? Mr. McCollum made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Hawkins, second. Any questions on that? I haven't been in prison yet. West Virginia Department of Corrections. It's like, what is it?
When we were here in Juvenile Services, we work with them. Then they work with the State Department, the educator there's, Ned Daugherty, and they pay his salary, and he works with us, and some middle school students. And, they have to have a facility off grounds in the event of a student, if we had an alternative for a student, we could use their facility and their education. He is a teacher, he's a certified teacher, and then they also have a representative here at Human Services Center, and she provides transportation, picks up on in high school. And it's a good working relationship. It was started, years ago, actually, I think it was Judge Roden's job. I remember started this, and Fremont County has a very active facility. Luckily, we don't have the numbers of students in there that they do. But it's an alternate place for students, and he also helps us with our Catholic program, because he's certified, because we don't have a teacher at the high school, there's a teacher at the special. So it's we have a good working relationship. We're supporting success stories with our students. Yes. We've been through good events.
Were there two young men?
Yes. That's the ones that Julie and I attended their presentation.
Yeah, we were there.
Right before Christmas.
Right.
It was, yeah.
In both courses.
Yeah, the many golfers, yes, yeah, everyone's.
Thank you.
Very impressive.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion carries. Number 11 is approval of parent community volunteers. To see attachments, and we have two. Is Chrissy Hovorka and Joanna Cordell. Mr. Collinsworth made the motion. Do I have a second? And second, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Number 12 is approval, service, and professional personnel. Do I have a motion? Lori made the motion.
Hillsborough Elementary School, we have unpaid medical leave for a remainder of March 21st, 2025, for up to 6 weeks. Pocahontas County High School, we have a summer group of DNS students. Pocahontas County High School is effective January 8th, 2025, for 111 days for the remainder of the 24-25 school year, and shall be 210 days each year thereafter. Employment, Justin Taylor is head basketball coach for boys at Pocahontas County High School, actually November 13th, 2024, for the 24-25 athletic season. Employment of Gary Taylor as volunteer coach for the boys at the high school, effective December 18th, 2024, for the 24-25 athletic season. We have resignation of Roger Urban as substitute custodian and maintenance, effective December 16th, 2024. And employment of the following as substitute teachers for Pocahontas County Schools at a state minimum professional salary for the 24-25 school year. Lucas Adcock and Blair Hamilton.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask if we'll be replacing Cassandra's math position.
Well, I'm kind of waiting to get a state. I'm working with them for a report.
Thought it wasn't necessary.
That's what I was thinking.
Do they have a teacher in there?
Yes, yes, they do.
On Derek Taylor, we need to be checking him because supposedly he quit and his kid quit the basketball team. They were not there last night to get him. So I don't know that we need to push him on forward for. Yeah,
Can you just wait that late, director?
yes. We can prove it, but I don't think he's there. He's not there.
Well, I guess if people quit and submit a resignation.
He's volunteer. He's volunteer.
Never.
How you want to handle that, Ms. Baltic? You want to mark him off or you want to go ahead and approve
We
it?
haven't received anything in writing,
Sorry, okay,
so,
okay.
they'll reach out to him. Oh, yeah, money.
Any other questions on personnel?
Glad you found a, genuine of students. That's cool.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Matters of the board, Mr. Gibson.
Well, I got a whole bunch of stuff. First of all, here's a from the peanut gallery I have. We're in Hillsborough music. Kids at Hillsborough get music every day. MES gets music once a week. This would benefit more students if it was based on numbers, not if we split that position and help the MES. Now, I don't know what the logistics of that is. This is one of the questions posed by the public.
Or do you have it first? Not because
Hillsborough has music every day. And MES gets music once a week.
I thought when we did the
Now, they-
Gilbert thing, that's why we.
Those folks on,
to Mr. Morgan's aside.
Well, that's,
Morgan goes to Hillsborough every day. But he doesn't see every class every day.
well, this is a comment from the public, so I'm just passing it on.
To an elementary school every day too.
But it, that, the way,
But he's not gonna teach every child. They probably get music once a week.
Probably.
You know, by the time you divide it by five. I thought that's.
don't get me wrong, I like speaking on Mr. Morgan, but, if this is something too, it should be equitable between the two. Here's another one about the MMS. This is from MMS parent. They really like the snow packets. The snow packets were good. They were activity based and not just a plain worksheet, and the kids enjoyed them, and it's a good thing. You're doing good.
That's what I shared with you.
That's what you shared, right? Now it's going to comment. Here's another one from MMS. The new janitor at the Marks Middle School is doing a super duper job. Both janitors need a shout out. Mr. Gibson, to your point earlier, that people like what's happening there at Marks Middle School with the janitors. Snow days and snow day delays, being called. People want them called earlier today and but I called me earlier, well, I conflict on this because, here's where when I get to work at Snowshoe at 7 a.m., 6:30, 7 a.m., those drivers up there are driving us the tires off those school buses up there in the snow. They're pushing snow. It's the shuttle buses. And and we're calling them off. Now, I don't know, there's not any correlation, but, anyway, people want to call them sooner. I had a commentary on that too. I had one gentleman suggest, which I thought was a pretty ingenious idea. He said we should put a snowplow in front of our school buses and let them plow our way to school.
They're not four-wheel drive.
Well, I think that was a pretty good solution.
And
Well, I want to see one of the bus drivers. He can drive the bus, he comes up, sees her back.
So anyway, that's, people want it called earlier. Well, I don't foresee anything. It's going to be controversial every time we do it. So I think you're doing a good job.
It's been early every day. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes as early as 3:30 in there, which is.
I know. I personally think.
Earlier than they want.
when we, because we work with the National Weather
I
Service.
know.
I mean, as you all know, the steps and we put out on, different places. It's not,
Sometimes we wait till we have an o'clock.
yeah.
When you're better weather, We wait like 3 o'clock. We need to see what they're telling us.
Right.
Well, I agree, and I support you 100%, but, you know, that's just what people talk about, so. There's my own commentary. I was at the high school last night to the ball game, and the place looked great. I want to give a shout out to Miss Campbell. She had me on top of things. The kids all look great. It was great. Would you agree, Frosty? Yes. The place, it was really looked nice, and I was happy to be there. I was taking tickets, and it was great. I'm happy about the dean of students. That's really good. Thank you, Miss Boston, for getting that taken care of. Hopefully, I don't get this, you know, guidance position. Oh, here's one from Marlton Elementary School. Marlton Elementary School, before the winter break started, they did a masked reader with teachers in costumes, and they did this assembly, and the kids loved it. I mean, I heard a bunch of people, probably a dozen moms and parents say that was a good day. They really liked that. That was good and nice.
I can shout out to Michelle Briggs,
Michelle,
who coordinated that.
well, it was a big hit. I mean, it was a big day. People like that.
Dave, do you want to mention what was burned in on their snow days?
Yes, go ahead.
Hillsborough, some of the younger kids' teachers did read alouds during their office hours on snow days, so that kids tuned in just to see those.
Oh, that's
They had, and I had to remember tonight.
Yeah.
I'm like glanced over that, yes, but they do, they said a lot more attendance in their scheduled time with those teachers because they were read aloud.
That is awesome. That is so good. Yeah, yeah. I like that too. I got another thing here. This is a more in-depth discussion about, and this parent is, and she has the point here. We're at the high school now, and we're talking about CTE and advanced AP classes and things, and I was talking to Mrs. Bostic about this earlier. And apparently this is the thing that some school systems are using extracurricular activities and sports as a student's required PE credit.
Used to here.
We're checking on that now. That's what normally, because I had same question back earlier.
Well, let's continue, because that would free up for the students that want to, you know, take the next step in higher ed. They could use that required PE course that we're making them sit through now to take more things and get more done, you know. And I think this is a worthwhile investment. This is something we need to look into and maybe make happen, because, you know, it's a good thing.
We've been checking on that, and I don't think you've got an answer back yet from the state, have you?
I do, and that's updates. So
Okay, yeah, we got to put the policy.
Okay, so
we'll look on that at the next meeting.
And with that being said, the CTE positions and jobs, you know, we need to start looking at that now. If you haven't, because I mean, you know, if this parent thinks that we should go ahead and post the positions and only fill the ones that seem promising with certified teachers. You know, apparently we have a business class now that we have a business, and correct me if I'm wrong, but we have a business program without a certified teacher just teaching it. Is there any truth to that? So, I mean, this needs to be thought out a little more carefully according to this. And also, I think we need to post the math job now, because that correlates with computer science completer program. And so, you know, I think that's all. And if you haven't been studying, I want to push that and get somebody on that. And the last thing I want to bring up is, which leads into the next last thing, Randolph County, you know, they are in pickle there. Their budget is they're way over budget. And their superintendent, he come up with the devised a plan to actually close 2 schools, and their board and the public rejected it. So now he is still faced with several $1 million over budget and without a solution. So what's coming down the pike, as we all know, is RIF season. And which brings me to my next concern is, where are we at with our RIF season? And we need to look at without objectively now, so that we're not looking at RIFs. You know, if there's any way, can we manipulate our program or teachers or funding to possibly not have a RIF solution, or,
We do that by the budget.
Well, I'm not.
And that's why that budget is so important that we go over that thing.
Well,
And look at the line items on it, because we might be able to shift some stuff around. I know, Sherry, you correct me if I'm wrong. I think we deal on a $13 million budget a year, Sherry, is that right? What is it?
20-some million.
20-some million, and we say 75% of 20-some million goes to personnel. Do you know what 25%, 75 million, or 20-some million is? That's a lot of money.
I get that.
So we can, that's why that budget's important, that we can shift stuff to keep from rifting teachers. Because once we rift teachers, even though we rescind the rift, we have lost it. We have lost them at that point.
It's a battle.
Well, you've lost your momentum in your schools. You've lost even the teachers that don't get rifted are saying, I may be next. And they're looking out there for anything that comes up. Now, we all know that West Virginia don't pay the most for teachers. We know that you can drive to Highland County or Bath County and make $15,000 more in a year. So, I got a lady that lives right below me that works in Bath County High School and has drove it. Now, you know why? The board here hired a girl out of Charleston, and she went to Bath County and found a job. The girl out of Charleston worked 2 years and went back to Charleston, and we lost her.
Well, we just started the second semester. We should be looking ahead. Look at our budget, Ms. Sherry, and the superintendent, to say, here's where we're location. We should. It shouldn't get to the point where we're like, unless it's absolutely necessary. I think that's not 2 cents for it. You asked me. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
I've really got a couple things. One of them, snow day. No matter what we do, you're gonna get complaints, and I get them both ways. We get complaints because we don't have school, get complaints because we do have school. So continue to do what you're doing, make the best judgments you can. That leads into the next thing that I'd like to get all your all's opinion on. I don't know if you realize it or not, but our girls' basketball team at the high school is ranked number 2 in the state right now. And this, coming from a background of coaching, it is a killer when you cannot get in the gym. 2 days, they're out of shape. 3 to 4 days, they lose all dexterity, and you're in a world of trouble. And we used to have a thing here where we would call an open gym. And it was up to the parents. I mean, you still have to have the coach or somebody has to have enough sense to look at the roads. And if they're not cleared by that evening, then, call it off. But I think we need to we're not doing these kids a justice. They're out here working, and anymore, these kids work all summer long on this stuff, on sports. And I don't want to see them lose what they got because they're out of shape or they just go flat. And I would like to see something to where we could get a policy or whatever in place where we could have an open gym and let them, if the roads are clear and they're paying, not mandatory. If the parents see fit, then and let them come to the gym. And let them, and it's not only basketball, it's everything.
5 years ago, there was a school policy that was wrote that said that when in school, there could be no after-school activities. Well, that changed. And what changed it was the state tournaments that the county was in, and we didn't have any school that day. So they changed that policy. So you might check on that, Mrs. Bostic, and see, because I know at that time, we said, sure, we'll go to the state tournament.
I can tell you that, the principals and Chastity Taylor, and Mr. Gibson and I were all in discussion, even like last week, weekend, just for practices and games. So it's not something that we do not include those administrators.
But I mean, like I say, I'm sports oriented, I'm sports background, I've coached for 20-some years, and we're not doing them justice. I mean, like I say, they're number 2 in the state right now, they're the best. So, I mean, they beat, number 14 last night. So, but, you know, if the coaches are willing, and the coaches are willing, I hear from all of them. And if the kids are willing and their parents are willing, I don't, you know, by 11, 12 o'clock, usually the roads are clear, unless you get these real cold temperatures and they don't.
You couldn't run an activity.
No, it's strictly volunteer. What we did whenever I coached years ago, whenever you were talking about, we called it an open gym. It was not mandatory for you to be there. But most kids, they want something to do anyway. And if their parents or guardians feel that it's safe enough for them, well, that's it. Yeah.
The WVSSAC,
No, they don't. It's up, I'll tell you right now, it's up to that young lady right there.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Goldman.
Mrs. Hollingsworth.
We got a thank you note here from Mornington Middle School. It says, thank you so much for the goodies. We appreciate you thinking of us and supporting NMS. We look forward to seeing you all in our building second semester. And that's because of the trades that Ms. Hollingsworth took to them. And I just wanted to say thank you for that. And that's all I had. Our next Board of Education meeting will be held on Tuesday, January 28, 2025, beginning at 3:30 at Mornington Middle School with the local school improvement meeting, followed by the regular meeting at 4:45 in Mornington, West Virginia. I have a motion. Motion, do I have a second? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. We are adjourned. Good. See the bars? You want to see the bar sheet of the, there's a cost.
My favorite.
Cool.
Elementary.
I was gonna say,
Don't play the fast.
This man, that's mostly saying.
Yeah, turn that.
So good.